What's up? Welcome to the Casual Jets fan. I am Stephen Green, joined con me, Congino, Michael Green. How we doing today, Michael?
Doing great. How you doing?
Good. We're on a Tuesday. Feels a little different today,
It does.
but excited to get into this breakdown of the draft. So, just want to ask you, what stood out for you as far as overall picture, and let's break down some of these individual picks.
Yeah, sounds great. We've had a little bit of time to digest it now, so excited to get into it. Overall, I think as a Jets fan, you gotta like the draft. I think there's some things that we can criticize and nitpick here and there, but overall happy with the players we came away from. How about you?
Awesome. Overall happy. And I'm not even too worried about nitpicking. I'm happy, and it hasn't felt that way in a long time. So I feel like a good draft like this is almost like our equivalent to a playoff win for a fan of like a decent team. So
Oh yeah,
I'm in a happy spot.
for me, draft weekend is Super Bowl weekend for the Jets. I mean that's that's how it is, unfortunately. But hopefully that'll change here sometime soon.
Yeah, be interesting. All right, so pick number 1. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, David Bailey. Yeah, pick 2 of the draft. The first player, non-quarterback taken, so the Jets had their pick. Pick of the litter here. I was hoping for Reese. I know we talked about that on the last pod, and I still, don't love it. Obviously, Bailey's a good player, but we got Will McDonald on the other side. He already struggles with the run. You see that with Bailey. That's not his strength of his game. He's kind of a speed guy. So that's my biggest concern. And you hear all the news about we're trying to, we don't want to project something like with Reese. We don't want to have to project someone who's played linebacker and edge. But Reese, his floor is he's a great linebacker, and that's another need on our team. Best rated linebacker in the draft, top 1 or 2, and potential to be dominant on the edge. A lot of people are comparing him to Micah Parsons. And you just watch Reese just toss tackles around sometimes when he's setting the edge. I didn't see that with Bailey. I see speed. He's got all the pass rush moves. He's dialed in there. So I just wonder, can he hold up on the edge? He wasn't graded great by PFF in the run game stats. So I just don't want this to be a rotational player if you're picking number 2, if you have the number 2 pick. So we'll see how it pans out, but that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, no, share some of those sentiments. I was genuinely surprised, not shocked when I saw the pick. I was thinking overall still going to be Reese, even though a lot of the media was saying Bailey. And it's going to be a bummer if the New York Giants take the next Michael Parsons or beyond, and we're looking back watching that. I mean, of course, Bailey is no slouch, but I think it's going to be interesting. There might always be that feeling of kind of what we could have had if he ends up having that kind of career.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting for sure. We got them both in New York, so it'll be. I'm sure that'll be scrutinized thoroughly.
Yeah. And I think, of course, if there was no Reese, no one would be batting an eye about Bailey being the best pick, too. 14 and a half picks.
Yeah.
I think it's just the comparison where Bailey is no slouch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my worst fear is we had Bryce Huff a few years ago, undrafted free agent, who I really liked.
I like Bryce Huff too, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked him, pass rush specialist.
Then he went to the Eagles.
But he was an undrafted free agent,
Yeah.
And if Bailey is that same thing, but we got him with the second pick in the draft, that's going to be disappointing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still a great player, but I want him to be a complete player that's on the field,
Yeah.
70% of the time, not 30 or something.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what percentage of snaps he plays. But yeah, and I think once the second pick, you want that generational player. If you can get him, that's the place to get him.
Yeah, last couple of things I'll say. I guess with Reese, I will say if you're going to draft Reese, you got to have a plan for him. Are you going to move him around, play him at linebacker at times, and then, move him into edge strategically, and then slowly work him into that edge? So if you don't have a plan, probably better off not drafting him. But I do think there was a lot of opportunity to be creative with him.
Yeah.
And have a lot of good mismatches there.
Yeah, the versatility could be really fun, too.
Yeah.
Depending on your matchup and all.
What do you think about some of the news about Bailey saying, this was a pick by Glenn to kind of save their job, someone that's ready to play now?
Yeah, I hate that. I mean, I hope when we're drafting, we're not thinking the goal is save the current coach's job. I'm thinking let's make the best pick for the team in the big picture. So I kind of hate that narrative. Who knows what's going on in the building? I mean, imagine Glenn has a presence there, and that could be a little bit in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of been the narrative we hear. I agree. I hope that's not the case. I'll throw out another wild idea. Was this, they canceled the visit with Bailey, that, they get 30 visits for players leading up to the draft. Was this a mandate by the owner rather than the coaches going after it? Because I just don't see why you cancel that visit. I mean, yeah, I guess the argument would be you have the best, you're comfortable with the pick, you could use that, you could bring someone else in that you have questions on. But I guess if you miss, that's going to look real bad not bringing them in. But if it is a mandate by the owner, then it's like, well, what point is it to use this?
Yeah.
So that's I'll throw out that conspiracy theory for the day. But
I could get going there. I don't think there's any lack of trust for Woody Johnson amongst Jets fans.
yeah, you can count me on that list.
Yeah, and I guess like you're saying, imagine the other side of that is it's a sure thing. We don't need any more time. All right, pick number 2.
Kenyon Sadiq, pick 16 in the first round. Last pod we talked about 2 guys, Omar Cooper, which was kind of a consensus one, and then we said, well, these receivers are good. We both really like Omar Cooper, but is that the value? I mean, Sadiq, the freak. I mean, it's kind of 16 is right where he's slated to go. Generational player in terms of athleticism and what he brings to the table. And that was kind of the other name we throw out. You don't like, if these receivers aren't top tier, maybe we look at tight end, and that's exactly what the Jets did. Love the pick. I was super excited when I saw it. I thought, if Omar Cooper slips to the second round, we grab him or some other ones I like. Jeremy Bernard at Alabama's another guy I really like there. They're kind of similar game to Omar Cooper. But Sadiq, awesome. Physical, he brings a physical presence. His willingness to block and wanting to dominate there, even if he misses sometimes, is awesome. So I love it. Physical specimen. You can put him at running back, fullback, receiver, tight end, slot. I mean, I think you just have so many options there. I expect to be throwing him some screens this next year.
Yeah, no, I love it as well. I was totally surprised. I'm thinking at 16 with Lemon on the board, they were going Lemon. That was my gut, like 100%. And then it's like Kenyon Sadiq. And at first I was a little shocked, and I was like, okay, no, that's cool. We had talked about it. The talent's there, and he's got potential to be the pick. We look back and like that was awesome. Even kind of going, outside the order that was maybe expected, but yeah, going to be super, super interesting. And I love that it seems like it's Frank Reich's pick, like that he really wanted that guy, which means there's a plan. I imagine we're going to see a little 13 personnel, and he's got a vision. He was the visually most amped up around it. So I think that's cool to kind of look forward to and see what Frank's plan is.
Absolutely. That was awesome to see that in the draft call. And he's another player kind of like Reese, where if you draft him, you got to have a plan for him. And just seeing Reich pumped up, you got to be thinking they have a plan and they know how to use them. So yeah, super excited for that one. And then we trade back into the first round to add the cherry on top. Omar Cooper Jr., we get what to see. We had the 33rd pick. We traded up to 30. We gave up a pick 179, which is into the 5th round. Not a whole lot to move back into that first round. Which also gives you a 5th-year option on the contract there. What do you think?
I think it was kind of the perfect cherry on the top. It was like the first 2 picks were a great steak dinner, and then that was just like the dessert to complete it.
Yeah.
Because I do think the one thing, even with Sadiq, I was like, man, that's a cool pick, but I still had this, where are we going to get another wide receiver? We still need another wide receiver. And then when they traded up, it was just like, oh, that saved the day. That feels perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome. To get those 3 guys, I love their games. I love Omar Cooper after the catch. Physical, just... He leaves it on the field, and he's a fun player to watch. And I think it's going to be a great compliment to have Omar Cooper, Garrett Wilson, and Adonai Mitchell. All 3 of those guys, they have so much versatility between playing outside or in the slot. You can move them around wherever you want. And then same with Sadiq. So
yeah, I love how different that is than what we were saying all season too. It was who else are we going to throw to besides Garrett, and now there's a plethora of viable targets. So that's super exciting.
Absolutely.
And Omar's he's versatile too. He's not just a slot guy. I think he can have a few different roles. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And his highlights are great. He's making bendy, really athletic catches. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Round 2. We had pick 44. We traded back, added a 4th round, pick 128, and then drafted D'Angelo Pons.
How are you feeling on that one?
First off, I like the trade back and the value we get. Adding that 4th rounder, I think that was an awesome trade there. Probably a team that lost, someone's picked their guy before then and then just wanted to move back. Or, well, no, it's the opposite there. But, yeah, I think that was a great trade. And then the player, love it. Going IU back-to-back with Omar Cooper, D'Angelo Pons. Yeah, I think another one, a small, undersized guy. The Aaron Glenn comparisons are awesome. I think Aaron Glenn, DJ Reed come to mind with comparisons. Yeah. But Pons is probably a more explosive, athletic athlete than DJ Reed. Yeah. 43.5-inch vertical, 4.3 speed. He's awesome, and he plays big.
Yes.
And physical. I love how he tackles. I just love his game, so I was super excited we got him. That might have been actually my favorite pick. So I really like this one. What do you think?
Absolutely agree with all that. One of my possible. I like all these picks, but possibly my favorite. I could even see potentially there's a world where he is the most successful player out of the draft. Every one of his plays, you watch the highlights. He's on the ball. He's physical. Plays way bigger than his size. And I love that his comp is Aaron Glenn, and who better to coach the guy who's your comp than yourself? That's amazing. So I think that's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, no, that was awesome, and yeah, Pons. He could play outside and he could play nickel. So I think they can move him around, and he's going to compete. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up, and it may change year to year, but he's a good player to add to the roster for sure.
Yeah, and if we were going to move up in that spot, that's exactly who I would want them to take. So super happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, and then going to our next one, Jackson. I didn't know too much about him. Give me a little bit of your thoughts.
Yeah, same here. I didn't know a whole lot about him, but the more you start looking into him, I think the more you get excited for the potential. And that's kind of what you want. So it's getting into 4th round picks and later. You want to have some potential. You want to have something that they're good at and can contribute now, and then hopefully they can round out their game later. And I think Darrell Jackson Jr., pick 103, 4th round. You watch him when he's right, it looks awesome because he is just running over people. He's pushing them back. Did the same thing at the Senior Bowl, just running over offensive linemen in one-on-one drills. So I think that's the exciting thing. And then to pair him up with the senior kind of leaders in the D tackle room, I think Harrison Phillips, who we got, he's kind of the leader of the defense. To have him as a D tackle to teach him how to do it, maybe get the consistency out of this guy, which is the biggest question right now.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit of a down year last year.
Yeah, that may be. I don't recall, but
and that might have been a little bit why he fell. But a lot of his tape looks great, and he kind of looks the bar. He's a big guy, big arms, big hands.
Yeah. He's kind of the first guy off the bus, kind of the guy. He looks like a specimen at D tackle, and I think the pairing of who we already have in that D tackle room plus our D line coach Carl Dunbar, who was with us during the Rex era, and then they brought him back again this year. I think that's exciting. I think we're going to try. I think he's in a good spot where we should be able to get the most out of him.
I like stuff from the Rex era.
I know, right?
All right, now we got a very interesting pick on the next one. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so we started day 3 with 3 4th-round draft picks. We had the 103, who we just talked about, Darrell Jackson. We had 128 and 140. We traded 128 and 140 to move up to 110 to grab quarterback, Cade Klubnik. Do you want to start, or? I think there's plenty to talk about here.
Yeah, my first thought was kind of WTF, who is this guy? And then saw a picture of him, and I just remember my first response was, he looks like the guy casted to play a quarterback in an 80s movie. Just the haircut, the face, I don't know, that's just where I went.
That is perfect. Yeah, perfect comp right there.
Then I watched a little bit of tape, and he had some good throws on the run. Looked like he had some talent, some good arm strength. But I don't know too much about him after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first off, I love the 80s, 90s comp there. It looks like he could be the backup for Keanu Reeves as a replacement if he goes down with an injury. But yeah, I think start with the trade. I think that's the worst part about it.
Right. Completely
if you love the
unnecessary.
guy, okay. I've said all along, Cole Payton was my guy. That's who I would have taken here. But the trade up was completely unnecessary. To give up that kind of those picks to move up to get a guy that most people had rated as a 7th round pick or undrafted.
Right. I don't think anyone else was going to take him.
Yeah, so that part bothers me. He could run, he could throw, inconsistent. The offense, when you watch him, it's a lot of RPO, so it's a run-pass option. And then when he's throwing, most of the time I see him just staring at one guy throwing it, so you don't get to see a lot of that. Can he go through progressions and
Yeah, and you need that for the NFL. You got to process.
I think that's the most underrated thing. So that's what concerns me with him.
Which makes him a little Zach Wilson 2.0. When I watched some of his highlights,
Oh, yeah.
that was
Highlights
kind of
are
my first
fantastic.
comp. Like,
Um,
but can he actually play the game? Can he process? And
yeah, and so this one seems like another Frank Reich pick. I hope he's right. If he is, then that's great. So yeah, we'll have to see.